Hi, Addy. Welcome to lesson number 75. And today's lesson is going to be super fun. I'm really excited because we're going to learn how to write fractions and decimals as percents. So that's going to be pretty straightforward for you, I think. You'll be able to figure out, if you get 35 out of 40 on a test, what percent you got, and then what grade you got. So that's really cool, right? Okay, so first we're going to do your facts practice, and it looks like it's called linear measurement. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I will let you get that out, and you are going to have 5 minutes to do that, okay? So get that out, get your paper ready, on your mark, get set, go. Good job, Addy. Keep going. I think the music is going to start back up again. Alrighty, I'm going to stop you there, Addy, and we're going to go on to the rest of the lesson, okay? All right, first of all, how does NASA organize a party? They plan it. They plan it. Look at their faces, too. It makes it even funnier because they're just like all serious about it, like that's not funny. Maybe that is how NASA organizes a party. They plan it. Okay, so let's go on to the rest of mental math. First, we're going to count by 12s from 12 to 44. Okay, so all you're going to do is you're going to remember your 12 times tables. And so we're going to do 12 times 1 and then 12 times 2 and then go from there, okay? So, and while we're doing it, we're going to count those sit-ups for that banana who looks like he's, oh, I just noticed he's not doing sit-ups. He's just trying to put his sock on. Poor little banana. All right, here we go. We're going to start with 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, 84, 96, 108, 120, 132, 144. Okay, we did it. Sweet. All right, let's go on to the rest of mental math, and I've got some chinchillas for you to look at while you do it. We're going to do 504 times 6. How would you do that? I might, if I were you, do 500 times 6, and then add to that 4 times 6. Okay. Enough hints. What about B? Do 625 minus 250. Write your answer. C. What is 3 times $1.99? 3 times $1.99. D. What is $2.50 plus $1.99? Looks like that little chinchilla is enjoying that scratch, huh? E. Whoa, this one is flexible. We are going to double $1.60. What is double $1.60? Okay, F. What is $12.50 divided by 10? So if you have $12.50 and 10 friends and you want to share, what do they all get? You're going to be moving that decimal, won't you? Looks like they'll get a little over $1. Okay, H, Happy Hands Club. We're going to hold our hands 1 yard apart. How many feet are in a yard? There's 3 feet in a yard. And then 18 inches apart. And since I can't see you, I'm going to have you write down, did you go from bigger to smaller, or smaller to bigger, or did you stay the same? Happy Hands Club. And then, Houston, we have another problem. Now it's your problem-solving skills. Okay, for problem solving, they want you to describe the steps from the fractions chart. Remember the fractions chart that summarizes everything we do with fractions? That would be used to find the answer to the following problem. 3 1/3 divided by 2 1/2. So describe what you have to do. We're starting with mixed numbers, so I know the first thing is probably you're going to have to change it to improper fractions. And then when it's a division problem, you don't have to get common denominators, right? You just invert the second one and multiply straight across, right? Okay, enough hints. I won't say anything else. All right, new concept. And the new concept for today is talking about percentages. And a percent is super interesting because it's actually a fraction. Did you know that? Like if you say 100% or 80%, it's actually a fraction with a denominator of 100. So if you say 80%, that's like saying 80 over 100. right? If you get 80 over 100 on a test, then you got 80%. So that's cool. Here we have Marge saying you lost 5% of your brain. So if your brain started out at 100%, 5% would be 5 out of 100. So you would have 95 out of 100% of your brain left. Cool, huh? All right, so this is the way I think about it, and I put X's here, which I know is an algebra thing, but I think you are super smart enough to understand it. So instead of this, where you have X, and X just means it's an unknown. It's some unknown number. If you have X over 100, instead of saying that, you can say, well, it's X%. So instead of this, you can do this. So you can switch back and forth from there to there or from there to there. So if you have like 3% right here, then you put a 3 over here, 3 over 100. If you have 99%, you put a 99 over 100. Or if you have 80 over 100 here, it's going to be 80%. Pretty straightforward, right? Yeah, it is in theory until we start actually doing some examples, right? So let's jump into some examples and see if it still makes sense. And hopefully it makes 100%, hopefully it makes 100% sense. All right, example 1 says, write 3 over 100 as a percent. So how would we do that? 3 over 100 as a percent. So I just said if we have X over 100, it turns into X%. So if that X is 3, then it's just going to turn into 3%. You wouldn't want to get that on a test, huh? 3 out of 100, you would only have 3%, and that would be an F. Huh. Except if you got 3% on this question, then you got it 100% correct. All right, let's do example 2. Write 3 over 10 as a percent. All right, so this, Lucy's friend, Ethel, she's saying, who knows? She doesn't know how to do that, but you are going to know how to do it. But look at what's different about it. It's not 3 over 100, it's 3 over 10. So the first thing we need to do is change 3 over 10 into something over 100. So what is this something? And what you do to figure this out is you say, well, I went from 10 to 100, and to go from 10 to 100, I multiplied by 10. So if I do that to the bottom, I have to do it to the top. So let's multiply the top by 10. And now instead of a question mark, we can do 3 times 10, which is 30. So if you took a test and got 3 out of 10 questions right, you only got 30% on that test. So 30 out of 100 is going to turn into 30%. Once you get it over 100, then it's easy because whatever number is up here, that's the percent. But the trick is to get it over 100, not over 10. Okay, let's do one more. I know you're going, wait, I can't do that. Oh, you can do it. Example 3 says, of the 30 people in the pool, 15 were swimming laps. So 15 swam laps out of the 30 people in the pool. What percent of the people swam laps? Okay, so it wants to know what percent of the people swam laps. So we know that 15 out of 30 were swimming laps. The first thing we're going to do is you could, if the math is easy, change this into something over 100, but that math is not really that easy yet because you can't do 30 times something easy to make 100. So what I would do first is reduce this fraction. So 15 over 30, how does that reduce? And I think you can see that this is the same as... Okay, sorry, Addy, I keep getting interrupted all day. So the first thing I would do is reduce this fraction. 15 over 30 reduces to 1/2 because both of those numbers can be divided by 15. And now you can change 1/2 into something over 100, right? So how do you get from 2 to 100? You would have to multiply by 50. And whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So what they did in the book, and I'll just move this over a little bit, and I'll move this over a little bit, and I'll change colors so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 50 over 50. This is kind of like multiplying the fraction by 1, because this can be reduced to 1. And you can do this at any time because it does not actually change the value of this. When you multiply something by 1, it doesn't change the value. So now you can multiply straight across. 1 times 50 is going to be just 50 over here. And then you just make sure on the bottom, 2 times 50 is actually 100. So the answer is 50 over 100, but they want to know what percent, but that's easy now that you have it over 100, because you can say the answer is 50%. You probably knew that from the very beginning of the question, but that's okay. We went through it. Alrighty, example 4. Oh, you're probably like, oh, another example? You got to be kidding me. It says write 0.12 as a percent. Okay. Now, this is starting out as a decimal, not as a fraction. But you remember that these places past the decimal point, like this one is the tenths place, tenths. This is the hundredths place, right? So if you have 0.12, that's actually the same as 12 over 100. Because this is in the hundredths place. So 12 over 100, now you've got it over 100, and it's easy peasy. You can find the percent. It's just 12%. Sweet, right? All right, example 5 gets a little trickier. Look at Lucy. She's making the same face as the bear. Like, it's exactly the same. How does she even do that with her mouth? Anyway, okay, it says, write 0.08 as a percent. All right, this one's tricky because if someone is not as smart as you, they'd probably like make a guess, and they might guess that it's 80%, but it's not going to be 80% because look closely. If you have 0.08, this one is in the hundredths place. So that's actually the same as having an 80 in like the thousandths place right there. And that was confusing. I don't know if you need to know that. But this 8 is in the hundredths place. And so when you put it over 100, it's actually just 8 over 100. Does that make sense? It could be 80 over 1,000, but I don't know if that makes it more confusing. Okay, so it's just 8 over 100. When you do the next one, you'll see the difference between this and the next one. So now that you have it over 100, easy peasy, it's just 8%. Okay, let's do example 6. Look how she catches this toast. Isn't that cool? And I love how like everyone else is just like, yeah, that's just normal. The toaster just throws the toast up in the air. I kind of want a toaster like that. Now it says write 0.8 as a percent. So this one's different than the last one. The last one was 0.08 and it was 8%. Now, someone not as smart as you is going to say that the answer here is 8%. But it's not, because now you have to get to the hundredths place because you want it to be over 100. So now you add an extra 0 because you want the number to be something over 100. If you left that 0 off, what would it be? It would actually be 8 out of 10. But when you add that 0, because that one is in the hundredths place, now it's 80 over 100. Does that make sense? So now this is easy peasy. You have something over 100, and the answer is going to be 80%. Sweet. Oh, and guess what? We're done. I put this so meaning now you can go watch TV, but you actually can't because now you got to do the rest of your math homework. All right, love you, Addy. Have fun doing your math. Bye.